Hello, I'm George and welcome to the Cellar Door, or to the Cantina. The Kaiju Cantina to be precise. Let's go taste some beer. Today I'm taking a break from the vineyards and heading to Melbourne's southeastern suburb of Huntingdale, home to the newly opened Kaiju Cantina. Hello, Brett.
Hey, George.
We're here at Kaiju Cantina.
You are, yes. We just opened this week.
Yeah, it's looking pretty fresh.
It really is, yeah, it's fresh. We've had a really good first week and a bunch of people coming through, which has been fantastic. The response has been really good.
So we're in Huntingdale?
Yes.
What made you choose this location for the cantina?
Yeah, well, the brewery itself, our main brewery is in Dandenong South, so we're southeast Melbourne anyway. Callum and Nat Reeves, who own the business, are both from this area. So having something in the southeast was really important to us, but also, you know, we wanted to make sure wherever we were bringing something to the area. So there's plenty of parts of Melbourne that have, you know, plenty of this sort of thing, and we didn't need to be adding to any noise. We needed to do something that was really going to make an impact and, you know, do something nice for the community that we're in. So
yeah, the locals must love that this is here.
They've been loving it so far. Yeah, the messages on the social media plus the feedback in the actual venue itself has been really good.
Yeah, and it was quite a build-up, wasn't it?
Quite a build-up, yes. I think we took the lease somewhere in the middle of 2019, and obviously things changed just recently after that. So yeah, there was a pause.
You had some time to mull things over.
We did, and I think, you know what, it wasn't great, but it's a blessing in disguise that it gave us more time to create a better experience and a nicer venue. So
yeah, you've really, I mean, the aesthetics are phenomenal, but you've done a lot of different catering to different groups. For example, your bus. Yes,
so we've put a little bus in. The bus is also a seating area. It's not just parked there, like it's not a delivery van or anything. It's just it's actually static and has its own little booth in there for shorter members of the society.
Yeah.
That can possibly keep them busy while the taller members of society are over there enjoying a beer or two.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's awesome.
It's worked a treat so far. We had some kids hanging out the side of it and all sorts of stuff. We've blocked the windows since then.
Good move.
Yeah.
So tell me about the design of the cantina. Who did you have involved in that?
So We Are Humble Architects did the space for us, and one of the things that we wanted to do was, you know, really take ownership of the fact that we are in Huntingdale. And one of the features of this area, if you walk around the neighbourhood, you'll see a lot of triple fronted mid-century cream brick, wrought iron, grandma's house type arrangements. So we thought, we'd bring that into the space. So the mood board that Callum gave them had all that on it, and they've really taken it and put it together and made a really nice venue with those features and the...
Like the little fence out the front.
Yep, and the cream bricks, and then complemented again with our own style as well. So
so these murals that you've got up.
Yeah, so the murals are by...
these aren't your grandma's murals?
No, they're from Mikey Burton. So Mikey Burton's our designer that does our cans. He's in Ohio, in the US, but what we did was we gave him the measurements. He designed the actual murals.
Not bad for an artist who's never been to Melbourne.
That's on that side, and on the other side we've got all the hops that are off one of our cans, which is Metamorphosis IPA.
Oh, that's what the hops are. The green bits are.
Yeah, that's right. So they're off the the hops and leaves from the hop vines, and they're inspired by one of the cans that we have, which is our Metamorphosis IPA. When we originally launched the first beer, they ordered all of the Simcoe hops that were in Victoria and used them. And they did create a hop shortage with that very first beer. That first beer was called Aftermath IPA, and it's on tap here now.
Great.
If you have one, you'll taste those hops, no doubt.
I reckon I will have one.
We've installed a pilot kit, 600 litre pilot kit, and that pilot kit is used to brew beers just for this venue. but also for us to be able to do specialty brews, collaborations. You know, we might do a beer event like Good Beer Week or something like that and brew a specialty beer out of here for that, rather than at our production brewery, which is really focused on just brewing our core range and with our canning line out there and everything. So for this one, we can put beers on tap here that you can't get anywhere else.
Shall we have a wander around and check out all the different elements?
Yeah, let's do it. Come on.
Great. Lead the way.
The 60s brick decor reminds me of Grandma's house and Grandma's homebrew.
So, Brett, here's the bar.
Yeah.
And here is all your, I believe, award-winning branding.
Yes, it is award-winning. We got a craft beer marketing award for our can of Kaiju Crush, which is the one with the pineapple on it.
Yes.
Just last year, which is great. It's all done by Mikey Burton. Kaiju, as a name, is actually the giant monsters that come and destroy cities. So that's your Godzillas, your King Kongs, and they come and they destroy the city. So
it's quite a name to live up to.
Yeah. And one of the original lines was devastatingly good, you know, and that kind of thing. So trying to keep it fun. Beer can be fun without being beer.
You want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So do you get behind the bar and pull a few pints?
I've got a 30-year-old certificate in hospitality I'm not afraid to use.
That'll do.
So, yeah.
I reckon it's time for a beer, so I'm joining Callum in one of the very stylish booths to get his take on how all this began.
Hi, Callum.
Hi, how are you, George?
I'm great. I'm very excited to be here. Thanks for having me, and thank you for this delicious beer.
Yeah, so we're drinking Kaiju Crush. This
How
is probably,
appropriate.
It's probably the beer that put us on the map, so it's probably a good one to start with.
Great. Ooh, yum.
I agree, it's delicious.
Well done.
Thank you.
So you say this one put you on the map?
Yeah, so before this, we were really making very high alcohol, over the top hoppy kind of beers, which we still make, but this was the first one that we thought we'll do something a little bit more approachable. My brother Nat had a dream, and in that dream were the words Kaiju Crush.
Like an actual dream?
He had an actual dream.
Really?
Yeah, and he said it's like a tropical XPA. I have the text messages. He sent me a message.
You've got the receipts.
Yeah, he wanted to make a tropical XPA, and it'll be our first beer in a can. And I just was right on board from the get-go. I was just like, yeah, and it could have like a Hawaiian punch style kind of graphic treatment and
yeah.
that
So
sort
the
of thing.
graphics. I mean, the beer put you on the map, but the
Yeah.
graphics also did.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You know, there's no denying that the illustrations, the graphics on our beers.
It's quite iconic.
Yeah, yeah. There's something iconic about it. There's definitely a feel, that kind of that bright vector kind of artwork that we've got. My wife's a computer game developer, and she always keeps her eye on what sort of different artists are interesting and doing and designing interesting things that she might be able to use in games. And when we decided to make the cider, which was the first product that we made, she said, maybe we should contact this guy, Mikey Burton, and see if he's interested in doing the work. We contacted him, and he was really excited about the project. So yeah, from there we've used him for all of the all of the products that we've put out.
So
Yeah.
the cider that started it all.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So I was working in the wine industry, also studying some winemaking and wine business, and a friend of mine has an orchard in the outer east of Melbourne, and they also press juice there. I absolutely love their apple juice, and we thought it might be a good idea to make some cider. My brother Nat was home brewing, and we thought, you know, between us, a bit of winemaking knowledge, a bit of brewing knowledge, and some apple juice, we could do something. And so we made the cider for a friend's wedding, and it went over really well with everyone there. And
So this was before you had any kind of facility to make cider?
Yeah, so those first few batches of cider that we made, the really little ones, were made at my house in our second bedroom while my wife was pregnant, and she was very keen to get that second bedroom ready for the baby to arrive.
Didn't want the baby in amongst the...
So I think she managed to get me out about 2 weeks before he was due.
Great. Before he was due.
Yes.
Cutting it pretty fine.
Yeah, it's cutting it fine, but you know, the things we do for love, I guess, yeah.
Are you talking about the baby or the cider?
I plead the fifth.
Yeah.
I think it's only fitting that I try some of the cider. Stay tuned. Up at the bar, it's time for a few rounds, starting with Golden Axe Cider.
The first drink that we made and sold 10 years ago.
I can smell those apples. I think I'm going to like them
That's what it's all
apples.
about.
Has
Yeah.
it changed much, the formula?
Not at all.
Not at all.
No, we haven't changed the recipe at all.
You nailed it the first time.
The juice from the same place, we use the same yeast, fermented cold, and it's still filtered down to this clear kind of colour. We ferment the juice out to dry, and then we add back some fresh juice to get a little bit of sweetness into it. And the idea is that it's like biting into a fresh apple when you taste it.
It's very healthy. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's that apple juice. It's like childhood with a kick.
I just
That
really
is a
like
good
it.
cider.
Thank you. So I get like aromas of blossoms and freshly cut apples.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on the palate, it's just got that really nice acidity balanced with the sweetness, and it's really kind of Moorish. So
Yeah,
I love
it is. Yeah, it's got that like very clean, dry
Yeah,
finish to it.
for me, I really enjoy having a cider after a couple of bigger beers. It's
yeah.
a really good way to
Okay,
reset the
cleanser.
palate. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it has got almost that sorbet lift to it.
Absolutely. Something of an amuse-bouche, if you would.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I agree. Shall we move on to appetizers?
Absolutely.
What's next on the menu?
Let's try a few more, shall we?
What do we have in our gorgeous little jars now?
These little tasters are actually shaped like cans.
Yes!
Tiny little
Tiny
cans.
glass tinnies.
Yeah, that don't have anywhere near enough beer in them. This beer is Coaster Bright Ale. And
Right.
This is quite new for us. It's a beer that we made specifically for the cantina. With the idea was basically to have this kind of style of beer at the cantina to kind of broaden the audience of our beers a bit. This one isn't dry hopped. It's a much more approachable kind of a flavour to people who've been drinking beers like
Session lagers.
session lagers. Yeah, it's much closer in style to that.
So with the hops, do you add it in earlier so that the flavour kind of mellows a bit, or?
All of the hops is in the kettle and whirlpool sections of the brewery. We don't use any hops in the fermenter for this one.
Right.
It's all earlier hops, which means we don't have as much of the fruity kind of aromas and
The
flavours.
bigger craft beer. sort
Yeah.
of.
It's much less crafty tasting. It's actually really difficult to make a style like this. There's nowhere to hide. You've really got to get the fermentation and the grains and that sort of thing right for it to taste good. And this one tastes really great. So
Can't
enjoy.
wait to find out. That is bright.
Yeah.
It's still got a bit of hops to it.
Yeah. So there is definitely some fruity flavour in there, but you're not getting like the,
Savoury.
yeah, more savoury. You're not getting the resiny kind of character on the palate as much.
Perfect for the more traditional beer fans out there. Looking at you, Grandma.
Yeah, we were thinking about what to do with the bus and the fact that it's a coaster, and it just sort of twigged that coaster would be a really good name for a beer.
Especially a cruisy one that you can just kind of just sink it.
Exactly, yeah, something pretty easy drinking like this. So yeah, I got straight onto trademark Australia. Typed it in and no one was using it, so.
Well, you got to jump on a great idea.
So the next beer that we're tasting is one of our one-off beers.
The special.
Yeah, it will appear on tap and then be on for a little while and never to appear again. This one's called Tangerine Love Machine.
Oh,
And it's actually named after our friend Nick's bright tangerine Monaro
Right.
from probably 10 or 15 years ago. He had this beautiful,
tangerine love
perfectly
machine.
kept tangerine love machine, and we wanted to make a beer with some citrus kind of flavors in it, and the idea of making it tangerine just felt so right with that story.
Yeah.
So the label on the cans that we made of it had a picture
little
of his
car.
car, and
Aw.
yeah.
To the love
Cheers.
machine. Oh yeah. That's citrus.
You really get that kind of tangerine kind of citrus.
Is this a sour?
This beer is lightly kettle soured, and you get a little bit more crispness on the palate with that, and then having the citrus in there is also, it's got a bit of tang as well.
Yeah, that tart kind of.
Yeah, but it's also like really refreshing and quite satisfying on the palate. The alcohol is just over 6%, so it's quite a big beer, but it's also really nicely balanced.
Yeah. Is the car still around?
No, its existence was fleeting like the beer.
Oh, it's poetic.
Yeah.
Over by the pilot tank, it's hazy time, with another of the Cantina-only brews.
So Callum, what are we drinking?
This is Kaiju Pleasure Cruise Hazy Pale Ale.
Ah, it's a fruity number.
It is quite fruity, yeah. So this is one we've made specifically for Kaiju Cantina. And it's pretty unusual for us because we don't really make too many hazy beers, but we wanted to make something a bit different exclusively for here. So yeah, really excited by this. This is tasting delicious, super fruity, a little bit of haze. Yeah.
Nice. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh my God, even before you sip it,
Yeah.
you get that.
Really fruity kind of
Yeah,
lift.
yeah.
This one's got quite a bit of citrus kind of thing going on. There is some tropical fruit aromas in there, but I definitely get like lemon and lemon curd kind of thing, but along with passion fruit, mango. But this one finishes quite dry as well. So a lot of hazy pale ales and other hazy beers tend to be sweeter. This one's a bit drier.
Yeah, no, there's definitely the sweetness that you get in the nose you don't get on the palate.
Yeah. So this is the kit that we've got at the Cantina is our pilot brew kit, where we do experimentation and for beers that are exclusively for here. So,
Like pilot season.
yes, that's
like-
right.
Will this be syndicated?
Well, hopefully we get more than one episode.
I mean, I'd tune in again.
Yeah.
The pilot kit allows for small-scale experimentation, too risky for the big production tanks, and it means there's always something interesting on offer.
We're also looking at having just like a one keg kind of a system as well,
wow.
where we'll put it on the bar and tap it up on, say, a Friday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon, and once it's gone for really like super fun stuff.
What if it's amazing?
Well, then we make more of
You
it.
make more?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
The brewery's taking on a life of its own in terms of just growing and the things that we need, but I love a project. And
Clearly.
so there's always something new that we're working on, something like the Cantina, which is something that I've been dreaming about since we started the brewery.
So this was always something you wanted to do?
Absolutely, yeah. Look, when we started the business, we really wanted to have a brew pub, but it wasn't something that we could afford to do as well as building a production brewery. And at that time, brew pubs weren't really kind of
Well, this was sort of 10 years
beaten
ago,
path.
wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. 10 years ago, brew pubs weren't really the beaten path. It would have been just another risk for us to take at the time.
When did you realise that you had made something amazing? Like, did you sort of sip that first sip of Golden Axe and go, oh, okay, I can see a Cantina in 10 years from now?
It was probably before that when Nat was making his beers at home. So he lived in Dandenong North, and he had his little brew kit there. And I couldn't believe how delicious these beers were that he was making. I'd never tasted anything like it. It was almost impossible to get fresh tasting American style hoppy beers in Australia 10 years ago, or this is probably more than 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And the beers that he was making, I just loved them. I'd drive out to band practice in Pakenham kind of twice a week, and I'd always stop in either on the way out or on the way back and pick up a growler of beer from Nat's place. He'd sort of pour me one off from the keg, and I'd take it to band practice or I'd take it home and just enjoy it over the next day or so. And I was just getting so much pleasure out of drinking his beers that it started in the back of my mind, maybe there is a business in this. And when we decided to make some cider for our friend's wedding, I guess all the pieces just from there kind of just fell into place, and Nat and I decided to combine our powers and build
here you are.
Yeah, that's right. So
This pleasure cruise is delicious. Shall we try some other beers as well?
awesome. That'd be my pleasure.
Great. Cheers.
Cheers.
Better finish these off first. Yeah.
Of course.
It's only polite.
I'm suitably warmed up now, but there's still so much more to try, so it's back to the bar to see what else Callum has in store. Now this looks very promising.
Look at that.
This gorgeous little beer is called Cthulhu on the Moon Black IPA.
Bless you.
Cthulhu comes from one of the H.P. Lovecraft novels.
Science fiction writer.
Sort of like, what is it? Gothic, Gothic fantasy.
Of course, yes.
Gothic fantasy.
Gothic fantasy.
I'm going to get into so much trouble because I don't really know. Matt is the Lovecraft guy.
Right.
So Cthulhu from the Call of Cthulhu, one of H.P. Lovecraft's novels about the elder gods. So the idea of Cthulhu was that it haunts people, and they keep coming back and trying to find Cthulhu, like I do with this beer.
There's a lot of poetry in these titles.
We think about it a lot. What else are we going to do? So,
Shall we drink it?
shall we?
Oh my God, that smells so good.
So for this one, it balances like an IPA. So it's full flavour, it's hoppy, but you've got some nice roasty kind of characters.
That
coffee.
beautiful, deep, stouty.
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, absolutely. So there's a bit of dark malt in there, obviously, to bring the blackness, but that also gives the roasty, chocolatey, coffee kind of
the coffee
flavours.
Notes coming through.
But heaps of hops in there, so there's bitterness. It makes it quite a satisfying and refreshing drink.
And haunting. It's so good.
Yeah.
And last but not least, well, first actually,
We're circling back to the beginning.
That's right, yeah. So this is Aftermath Double IPA. This beer, when we had a different name when we started the business, we were called Monster Mash, but there was a certain energy drink company that didn't like that. So we changed the name quickly and graciously to Kaiju Beer. And yeah, so this is our double IPA that we started out with. 9.1% alcohol. It's more in a West Coast sort of style of double IPA. Very
So
very
what's
hoppy.
that mean for flavours? Oh, so big.
So it's more resinous hops, piney, citrusy kind of hop varieties. Earthy and spicy and fruity as well. So delicious.
Yum. Ooh. Oh yeah. Wow, that fills your mouth, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
doesn't it? Yeah, it's really mouth-filling, and that is lots of resin. It's the alcohol and
It's like a meal.
sweetness. It's all playing in together to give a really kind of satisfying palate experience.
And is this the one that you bought all the hops for?
Yeah. So when we first made this beer, not experienced in commercial brewing, but also it wasn't that easy to get those American hops in Australia at the time. So yeah, we ordered our Simcoe hops, and apparently we ordered everything that was available in the state. So yeah, when other people went to order it, they couldn't get it because it was run out.
It was all with
yeah,
you. Making this.
just making this beer, and it was worth it.
I agree. I'll drink to that.
Cheers.
before I go, I think it's time to pay a visit to the coaster.
Well, I've had a great day here. In fact, I think I've got a bit of a crush on Kaiju. But it's time to head home. Hey driver, let's go. Oh no, we're out of gas. Cheers.